How's it going, everybody? I'm coming to y'all with another knife review, and this time we're looking at a SOG. Now, SOG knives historically on my channel have not gotten the best reviews, particularly their folding knives. Unfortunately, many of my old videos are now gone due to YouTube hitting me with strikes for child endangerment. I was the child in question at the time. I was under 18 for many of my reviews way back in the day, but I reviewed the SOG Aegis, the SOG Flash 1, the SOG Flash 2, and many, many others, and I didn't like them. I just didn't. I found they had lots of blade play. I found the handles felt very cheap. I had a number of problems with those knives. However, I have never reviewed a SOG fixed blade, and that's because I hadn't really bought any SOG fixed blades until I went out and got this SOG Tech Bowie, as well as a SOG Seal Pup, and decided to start carrying them, in the case of the Seal Pup, using it, and seeing what I think. I have not used the Tech Bowie because of the reason that I purchased it. I didn't buy this to be a camp knife. I didn't buy this to be a woods blade. I bought this to be a self-defense weapon. Something I carry on me, every day. It gets rotated out with other fixed blades to be my emergency self-defense weapon, since I am not permitted to purchase a firearm due to a mental hospital stay. I get blocked every time I try to purchase a handgun. And so, carrying a fixed blade is my means of self-defense. So I'm not going to go out and thrash this thing to see how it would do as a woods blade whenever I'm trying to keep it sharp and ready to use as a self-defense weapon. However, I am happy to say that this is going to get a very good review. I actually really, really like this particular knife, and I was really impressed because, again, SOG historically has not done it for me. So let's go ahead and talk about the sheath first, because the sheath does have the big negative that I want to talk about, and that is this strap. This knife has just been carried and used, like not even used, carried, and I think I may have opened one Amazon package with it because I didn't have my folding knife on me. Ooh. It's been carried. It's been very rarely extracted from the sheath except when I'm playing with it. And look at how much that strap has frayed. It is a super cheap, really flimsy, crappy nylon that was coated in a fake leather. And it is just absolute crap. Absolute crap. It is flimsy. It's fraying all over the place, and there's no way to save it. The button to hold the knife into the sheath is plastic and doesn't like to snap very well. It's actually a struggle to get it to snap. The strap is crap. The strap is crap. Let me go ahead and try to get this buttoned. All that pushing, it's still not buttoned, guys. I have it lined up, right up and down. And granted, it is harder because I'm on camera, but it doesn't like to snap shut. It's a really, really crappy clasp on this particular sheath, which is a shame because the rest of the sheath is awesome. Okay? It is a hard molded nylon sheath, essentially a kind of plastic sheath. Thicker and more rugged than what you would see from, say, Mora. Honestly, very similar to Cold Steel's Securex, which they're both GSM Outdoors products, so that makes a certain level of sense. It's honestly probably the same material. And luckily for us, that means the knife actually holds into the sheath really, really well with just retention, so you don't actually need the strap. I'll probably end up cutting this button strap off once I post the review. I literally left it on mostly so I could talk about it and say how much it sucked. But the rest of the sheath is fantastic. It's lightweight. You have multiple means of attaching it to, a backpack or any kind of MOLLE equipment if you are going to take this into the military, into service. It is a quick attach on the belt, which is really, really nice. I love to see that because, you can just quickly rip it off your belt if you're having to go into a government building or, an area you're not permitted to carry your knife, into a school, something like that. So you can take it off really quickly and leave it in the truck. Really like that. So having SOG emblazoned across the front, a little gaudy, and SOG is really bad about that these days. I mean, you can see how many times this knife tells you it's a SOG. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Older models were not so egregious. But the sheath is fantastic. It's just that button strap is absolute garbage. Let's talk about the knife itself. And like I mentioned, I have not used this thing outside of opening one bubble mailer. I haven't used it because the purpose of this is to be a ready-to-use self-defense weapon. That is the purpose of this. And I need it to stay sharp. I need the tip to stay fine. I need it to stay ready for if, God forbid, I have to employ it in that role. But I will say this, I am extremely confident that this knife would perform incredibly well in that role. And in fact, it might be my favorite combat knife of its size that I've personally ever owned. I would actually pick this over a K-bar strictly for the purpose of self-defense, and I want to talk about why, starting with this tip. Okay, let's see if I can get that to focus in. This is a very, very needle-sharp tip. Incredibly penetrative, which is, while the K-bar's tip is functional, this would penetrate so much easier on a thrust than, you know, the more utilitarian blade of a K-bar. And this is not a comparison video to a K-bar, but it's kind of the knife a lot of people think of immediately when they think self-defense knife or combat knife. And I think this would perform better in a lot of ways over that. It is a very thick stock, 1/4 inch thick. So if you did want to split wood with it, I'm sure it would do quite well. There's probably tons of videos of people doing just that with it. But it also means it's going to be a very stout blade. Again, though, very, very sharp and fine tip. The edge as it comes out of box is reasonably sharp. I haven't touched it up. I really should. I would like to get this thing scary sharp. Out of package, it's fine. I don't know if I have much paper around me to cut with it to show anything off. Yeah, screw it. We'll use this little bit of paper. Maybe I lied to you. Okay, there we go. It's adequate. It's okay. It's not great. Part of that is going to be the fact that the blade stock is so thick. It's going to prevent it from being as good of a slicing knife for finer cutting work. But it'll be very easy to touch the blade up because it is made from a US 8, which is incredibly easy to sharpen and put a damn good edge on. Okay, AUS 8 takes a very, very fine edge. It holds it reasonably well, and since I won't be cutting with this very much, you know, God forbid, the edge that I do put on it will stay on it likely for life. And it's moderately rust resistant, that rust resistance enhanced by this beautiful titanium nitride coating on this blade. It might be a DLC finish. Honestly, it does remind me a bit of Cold Steel's modern DLC finishes, but it has that titanium nitride glossy look that I find absolutely gorgeous. It's obviously a Bowie clip point blade. It's 6.4 inches long, so it provides fairly adequate reach. It's not the biggest combat knife in the world. It's not the biggest fighting knife in the world, you know. Grab another one of my fixed blades real quick to show you another knife that I do carry in this same role, Cold Steel Natchez Bowie. And you can see the entire SOG knife is smaller than just the blade on the Natchez. So I do have bigger fixed blades that I will occasionally carry for that self-defense role, but I do like the SOG being smaller because it's going to bump into less. Sometimes I might want to carry a multi-tool or other stuff on my belt, and this is just taking up less real estate there. But if I'm looking to maximize my reach, there's obviously bigger knives that I could carry, and quite frankly, do carry, sometimes over the SOG. But in its size range, I really like this particular knife, okay? Hollow ground, very, very easy to sharpen up, and I will do so probably as soon as this video ends. It is a gorgeous blade. Yes, it's made in Taiwan. No, that shouldn't bother you. Honestly, some of the greatest knives that I've ever handled have been Taiwanese built. Some of the nicest made, just top-end cutlery I've seen has been built in Taiwan. And it's crazy to me because I've owned tons of knives made in the USA, made in various parts of Europe, made in China, Taiwan, Japan. And Taiwan has consistently impressed me even on more budget knives. Okay, that Cold Steel Natchez I just showed you is made in Taiwan. This Espada, that's a Taiwanese-made blade, S35VN. By the way, another size comparison, just so you can see the size of the Tech Bowie. That's a Taiwanese-made blade. And guess what? It's a damn good blade, too. So I don't have a problem with something being made in Taiwan. Let's move on down to the handle, 4.6 inches long, a little bit cramped. I wear medium-sized gloves and I just have enough room on it, but I could see someone with larger hands running out of room very quickly on this. It is made from Kraton, which has good grip, and it is an attractive, kind of design where we have the two-tone. We go from the Kraton to a spacer, to the Kraton to a spacer, to the Kraton, leading up to this beautiful black guard, which is finished in the same finish as the blade itself. It's nice and thick. The knife has pretty good balance, honestly, and it's because it is so grippy, it is so tractionable, I'm not worried about losing this if I do have to use the knife to defend my life. I'm not worried about dropping it. Okay, and it does feel extremely fast and maneuverable in the hand. So I have no doubt that I could use this thing quite effectively, having to swing it around off camera. I hate how they have blasted the SOG logo over the handle the way that they did. It's always had it on the handle, but it used to be more subtle, like an even more subtle version of this Seal Pups handle. You can see this is just as big, but it's not at least it's not metallic. But you used to have a very small SOG logo that just blended into the Kraton rubber, kind of like this, but shrunken down. And by the way, you can see the family resemblance between SOG's clip point Bowie style blades. A lot of their knives do tend to resemble each other, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. Put this Seal Pup away real quick so I can continue talking about the Tech Bowie. But yeah, I hate how they blast that on both sides of the damn handle. It's gaudy. It's grabbing attention that I don't really necessarily want grabbed. And I think it cheapens the overall look of what would otherwise be just one of the most handsome fixed blades on the market. We do have our pommel here, which you can see shows how it attaches that tang, that stick tang, through the handle. And yeah, you could easily hammer with this pommel, whether it's utilizing it in place of an actual hammer for some reason, or if you want to use it as a less than lethal impact device, or a less lethal impact device. We do have a lanyard hole attachment there, so we can put a lanyard on it if we want to. Lanyards are cool, but I can't see myself actually like looping my wrist through one and then drawing the blade in a self-defense situation. Every time I've had to pull a knife, and I've luckily never had to use one against a person, but every time I've had to pull a knife, just in case for a self-defense situation, I would have not had time to put my hand through a damn lanyard. But if you are planning to use this as a woods blade or just a really big utility EDC blade, I suppose it does have its functionality there. Okay, the weight on this is 11 ounces out of sheath, 14.6 ounces in the sheath. So I think that's very manageable. It does feel heavy in the hand. I'm not going to lie to you. It does have a significant amount of weight in the hand, but it's balanced really, really well. And because of that, it's very comfortable to manipulate the blade. So that heft isn't without purpose. I think it makes the knife an excellent fighting blade. No, I'm not an expert by any means, but still, that's just my initial impressions. And, I do run a lot of my knives by my old man. He is a combat vet from Vietnam, so this knife was something that actually really interested him, as the design harkens back to that era. And I do like to get his opinion on them, as he is someone who has actually had to employ knife fighting to defend his life while in the service. And so I do take a lot of what he says about a nice balanced heart, and he also agrees that this is a very well balanced, very effective and fast knife in the hand. So yeah, this is a SOG that doesn't suck. This thing is great. The biggest problem I have with this knife is the price. It is a very expensive knife considering the materials it's made from and the location that it's made in. You're going to spend about between $130 to $160 on a SOG Tech Bowie, and that is a lot of money for a Kraton-handled AUS 8 blade. So you may find that, or you may feel some kind of way about dropping that much money on this knife. That said, I think, what is it, the Bowie 2.0 or Super Bowie, I forget which one, that happens to have a leather handle.